Okay, so we have a few people have kind of come into the meeting now. Just to let you know that it is being recorded by the council. So if you don't want your video or sound or anything on, please do ensure to keep it off. We'll maybe wait another wee minute to see if anybody else wants to join us before we make a start. Okay. All right, so we'll make a wee start, and if anybody wants to join in, they can just add themselves into the meeting. Thank you all very much for logging in today. It's all very new times and new ways of working for everyone. My name is Claire. I'm a nutritionist with the Western Health and Social Care Trust Community Food and Nutrition team. And today what I'm going to be having a quick look at is busting some of the biggest nutrition myths. Okay, so a lot of these you will have heard of. Right. PowerPoint, there we go. A lot of our nutrition myths you may have already heard of, but we're going to bust some of them because nutrition is an essential part of a healthy life. And there's so many trends, so many fads, and lots of misinformation out there. So it can be really difficult to find reliable, scientific-based nutrition information. So hopefully this will help give you a bit more information today, and you'll maybe learn something new. If anyone has any questions at any time, please do just type them into the little chat box and we will try and get them answered for you at the end. Okay. So our first nutrition myth, eating carbs will make you put on weight. I think everybody has heard this. And of course, it is. So our carbohydrate foods really are not the enemy. These are our potatoes, breads, rice, pastas, our breakfast cereals, all those kind of starchy foods, okay? And our bodies use these foods as a fuel. They are our main source of energy, okay? So they're actually really important for our daily day-to-day lives. What we would be recommending is to try and choose whole grain options where possible rather than your white bread and white pasta and white rice. Trying to choose your whole grain options or your seeded options. Because these are higher in fiber, they're better for our digestive health. They help prevent against things like constipation and they help keep us fuller for longer. Okay, so they are a better option. If you're not keen on your whole grain varieties, you can use things like your half and half, which is better again. Okay. From your white, so your 50-50 breads, maybe using some white rice, brown pasta, mixing things up so that you're getting a real variety there. Okay. Portion sizes. So often it's very common that people will think that these food groups will help us make us put on weight, will make us feel bloated, all those kinds of things. But it's really our portion sizes and how much of these we're having. We actually don't need an awful lot of these foods, and they tend to be something we overeat. Here we tend to have our pasta, like a big mountain on our plate, and our massive portions of rice. Our potatoes, we're massive potatoes eaters here, and they do definitely like to add onto our plate. So really, it's been mindful of our portion sizes and that we don't need an awful lot of this food group to get our energy. So recommendations are a couple of servings per meal. So you're looking at maybe a couple of Weetabix for breakfast, a sandwich with a couple of slices of bread at lunchtime, or something like a jacket potato. And in the evening time, whether it's your potatoes, your rice, your pasta, you're really looking at sort of 5 or 6 tablespoons, which isn't an awful lot. Whenever you look at how much pasta, sometimes you cook it and you can be cooking it for the whole street. And also what we add to them and what we serve them with and how we cook them, okay, because this is really important as well. These foods are actually very low in fat. What we do to them that makes them high in fat. So the butter that we add to our mashed potatoes, our creamy pasta sauces, our creamy curries that we add to our rice. There are things like adding coleslaw to a baked potato can double the calories, okay? So it's just being mindful of how we use these foods, how much we have of them, and how we cook them, and what we pair them with, okay? So our next one here is fresh fruit and veg is healthier than frozen. All right, often we think that it's expensive to eat healthy, that we have to be buying fresh, we have to be buying organic, and that is not the case, okay? They are actually equal in nutrient content, okay? So our frozen fruit and veg is really, really nutritious, and it's normally frozen very, very quickly after harvest, which means that it preserves the nutrient content. Because it has been frozen, what you will find is it often doesn't have any of the bumps and bruises that transport can cause. Okay, so it's really, really important and really, really useful for us. It's also cheaper, more cost effective, and less wastage. So really with your frozen fruit and veg, you tend to only use what you need and you tend to throw less in the bin. Okay, so they're really, really important for us. Our next one here is honey is a healthier choice than sugar. This one is getting more and more media coverage over the last couple of years, and it's becoming more and more popular, and there's more and more discussions around it. This one is also false, okay? Honey is just another form of sugar, albeit a natural form of sugar. Our body still treats it as a form of sugar, okay? So honey, the health hero, what's it to be? Honey actually has more calories per tablespoon than sugar. So 64 calories per tablespoon versus 48 with our normal sugar. All right, so it is quite high in calories there. There is no scientific evidence that honey actually helps relieve a sore throat. Okay, although it can be added and used as a drink if that's what you wish. Honey counts as what we call free sugars. Okay, so we should be limiting our intake, and free sugars are basically the types of sugar that can lead to weight gain, increased risk of diabetes, it can have a negative effect on our dental health. So we do need to be limiting how much of the free sugars that we have, okay? It's important that we don't give honey to our under ones because of the risk of infant botulism or infant food poisoning, okay? So it can be quite dangerous there. Also, it can be used under medical supervision to aid wound and burn healing. So it does have a place there, possibly not necessarily in the diet. And no evidence that it actually relieves hay fever symptoms, okay? So there are lots of different types of honey out there. Some of them are a lot more expensive than others. And with sort of information around hay fever and allergies and things like that, but there is no evidence that it does relieve your symptoms. All right. So if you do want to use it, it is just, again, bearing in mind how much you use. Coconut oil is a healthy choice for cooking. Again, this one has got a lot of media coverage over the last few years, and is also false. It is a source of saturated fat, sorry. And the saturated fat is the one that isn't just as good for our heart health, okay? So can increase our risk of stroke and heart attack. And coconut oil actually has more saturated fat per gram than butter. So that's actually really surprising. It's 96% saturated fat. And if you see it in the shop, it does tend to be solid rather than liquid. So not very good for our heart health. And again, our saturated fat is linked to an increase in cholesterol too, okay? We would recommend is that it doesn't actually have any health benefits, okay? There are no scientific evidence out there that there are health benefits to using coconut oil. Okay, a lot of different organisations and groups and people may suggest that it is better for us, but there is no scientific evidence to actually prove that. All right. And then we have our recommendations here that unsaturated oils are a better choice. So things like our rapeseed oils, our olive oils. Okay. And again, they're also a lot more cost effective. They tend to be not just as expensive. All right. So just a wee welcome to anybody that has just joined us there. It's just making people aware that Strabane and Dairy Council are recording the sessions today. So if you don't want to be videoed or anything like that, if you turn your video off, if anybody has any questions, please do just type them in the chat box and we'll try and answer them at the end. Okay. So our next myth here is vegetarian and vegan diets are a healthier option. Again, this is becoming very, very popular. We do have a massive rise in individuals who are following vegetarian and vegan diets, but it is false that it is a healthier diet, okay? It really depends on what foods are being eaten. So although a vegetarian and a vegan diet looks at a lot of our plant-based foods, so our fruits, our vegetables, our pulses, our grains, things like that, it's important to be mindful that our plant-based meat alternatives, so things like our plant-based burgers, plant-based sausages, our plant-based meals like that, tend to be very high in fat and not very good for our health. Okay. Again, looking at what our meat and dairy products are swapped to, so obviously these are not included in the diet, and because of that, there can be an increased risk of vitamin and mineral deficiencies, particularly things like our vitamin B12 and our iron. Okay, so it's important to be mindful that supplements will need to be included and ensuring that you get good sources of iron. So things like our dark green leafy veg is a good source of iron, and ensuring that our dairy products are fortified appropriately. So ensuring that they are calcium fortified, vitamin D fortified, although it can be more environmentally friendly. All right. So on average, a solely vegan diet uses about a third of the land and fertile soil that a diet of meat and dairy, which use a lot more ground and soil and land and energy. Okay. So just cleanses can detox your body. One's really popular as well. It's all things that we've heard of. Again, this one is false. We are very lucky that we have a liver, kidneys, lungs, and all our other organs to work to do the job for us, okay? Our bodies work to get rid of what we do not need, all right? We do not need any special expensive juices to do it, okay? Juice cleanses can actually be really dangerous because they eliminate a lot of the important nutrients that we need to get every day and a lot of the calories, all right? So they can leave us feeling really lethargic, really tired. They can have an effect on our teeth because of free sugars, and they can also lead to a weight loss very quickly. So you'll quite often see lots of different diets that have juices and cleanses and things like that in them as part of a weight loss program. And that means that you will lose weight very, very quickly, but you're likely to regain it very quickly again, because our body needs calories, it needs energy. So our body will pick up those calories and store them again very, very quickly. Okay, so they are not recommended. Guinness is a good source of iron. Everybody is bound to have heard this one. It would have been very popular and would have been prescribed to pregnant women many years ago. It is also false. All right. So the iron content in Guinness historically would have been quite high due to Guinness being stored in iron kegs. This is no longer the case. Guinness is no longer stored in iron kegs. And to get the recommended amount of iron for one day, you would have to drink an excessive amount of Guinness, far beyond the recommended 14 units you're currently recommended for alcohol intake. On average, you need something like 60 Guinness to reach your recommended iron intake. And if you were able to drink 64 pints of Guinness, I don't think that you would be very well. Our meat and our dark green leafy veg are best sources of iron, okay? And you will also get iron from other sources such as pulses or fortified cereals, seeds and nuts if you are looking at more plant-based alternatives, okay? So our next one here is a gluten-free diet is healthier. Again, this is false, it is a myth. It has become increasingly popular in recent years for people to follow a gluten-free diet, but it is only vital for people who have been diagnosed with diseases such as celiac disease or dihydrodermatitis herpetiformis, all right, which is linked to celiac disease. And the only treatment for these diseases is to follow a solely gluten-free diet, okay, to exclude all gluten-free. It is not recommended as part of a weight loss plan because we do need to include gluten in our diets if we can tolerate it. All right. And what you find is a lot of your gluten-free foods, so your gluten-free breads, gluten-free rolls, gluten-free pastas, things like that, can tend to be quite sweet. So they're quite high in sugar, okay, because of the way they're built and the way that they're made of. All right. So it isn't a healthier alternative for weight loss. All right. Drinking lots of smoothies is a great way to get fruit and vegetables in our diet. That's also a really, really common misconception. Okay. So although it will count as one of your 5 a day, in terms of your fruit and vegetable intake, it's important to be mindful that only 150 ml 5 a day. Okay, so 1 glass. If you drink more, it won't count as more than one of your 5 a day and can actually have an effect on our dental health. Okay, so blending the fruit causes all those natural sugars that are contained within the fruit to be released from the cell walls, and these become free sugars. Okay, as I mentioned free sugars briefly earlier with our honey. So these free sugars can increase our risk of dental decay, our increased risk of diabetes, heart disease. It's not recommended to be having in very large amounts. All right. And there, just a small example, 250 mils of a well-known branded smoothie contains 28 grams of sugar. So on average, 7 sugar cubes. Okay. So that can have a really, really negative impact on our teeth and on our dental health. And what we'll find is because that sugar is free, we basically get a very quick peak in sugar and it gives us a very quick burst of energy, and then we slump back down again as those energy levels fall. Okay, so we would recommend that you are better taking whole fruit because it also has fiber there and natural sugars, so it doesn't have the same effect. Okay, it's easier broken down by our body. Our body can store all the vitamins and nutrients, and our body can also take that fiber on board. Okay, so trying to get our whole fruit where possible, and being mindful that 1 glass a day will count as one of our 5 a day. Okay. Artificial sweeteners are bad for us. This one comes up all the time. All right. So sweeteners are found in thousands and thousands of food products that we have on our shelves today, and they provide sweetness without the calories that sugar. Okay, so sugar can provide calories, it will lead to weight gain. Sweeteners do not have calories, okay? They research has shown us that they are considered safe to consume on a daily basis, okay? It can assist in weight management and in the management of other health conditions such as your type 2 diabetes, okay? So it can help if, for example, an individual does drink a lot of very sugary drinks, like your Coke and things like that. If they are trying to come off those drinks and trying to lose some weight, if you move from Coke to Diet Coke, you will be moving from a source of sugar to free sugar to artificial sweeteners. So that calorie content will be taken out. Okay, so it can help lose weight. All right, and it can help there with your diabetes as well in terms of your sugar intake. All right. So that is everything that I was hoping to go through with you today. I know it is a very, very quick run through, but thank you all very, very much for joining me. And if you do have any questions, please do type them just in the chat box. And I will try and answer as many as I can. Okay. Thank you. Bye. Okay, so I've got a wee question here. Any alternatives to honey? Um, it can be quite a difficult one because there are lots and lots of different alternatives and forms of sugar out there. Okay, and it really is a personal choice. It is really about being mindful of how much we take. Okay, so because it is a sugar, it's looking at how much we're taking into our body. All right, so if you are using honey, for example, to put over your porridge or something like that in the morning, that is absolutely fine. You can use honey, you can use sugar, or we would say try things like your fruit as well. So your fruit purees, your frozen berries, things like that can add a nice sweetness to things like our yogurts, our porridges, and will help sweeten them up that way. Or some of your dried fruit can be quite useful to sweeten porridge as well, because I know porridge can be quite bland. So it is nice to be able to add something to make it taste a bit sweeter. Okay. Or we would also recommend trying to use your herbs and spices. So things like your cinnamon can also be a very useful one. Cinnamon, your desiccated coconut or shredded coconut is a lovely option to sweeten your honey as well. And as I say, if you're using things like maybe raisins or dried cranberries, that also helps to sweeten it and get work towards some of your 5-a-day portions. I hope that answers that question okay. Drinks for kids other than water. This is also a really, really popular one. So our current advice is water or milk would be your best options. Really, again, back to our sugar content and our calcium content. So sort of our strong bones and teeth for kids. If you have children that aren't massive fans of your water or milk, we would suggest your diluting juice, but having it really, really well diluted. So current recommendations are sort of one part dilute to 10 parts water. So you're basically just flavoring your water. You're having as little sugar intake there as possible. Things like your fruit juices, so your smoothies. We did mention there that they are a source of free sugar, but they also count for children as well. So if they were to have one glass of smoothie a day or one glass of your, say like your breakfast orange or cranberry juice or something like that, that is absolutely fine. It will count towards their 5-a-day. But just being mindful not to give it to them too often. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Okay. All right, so I know we're kind of coming to a close now, and the next webinar will be coming on at 11:30. So we will maybe draw things to a close there. Thank you very much for your questions. Thank you very much for holding on and listening to me. This is very new for everyone, rather than sort of our face-to-face sessions. I work as part of the Health Improvement Department with the Western Trust. So we cover basically the whole Western Trust from Limavady right through to sort of the other side of Fermanagh. And we are hoping to develop a number of different webinars and sessions all around nutrition and healthy eating, things that we would normally be going out to groups to deliver. We're hoping to put into webinar form. So things like our weaning, feeding 1 to 5 year olds, general healthy eating, food on a budget, shopping lists, lots of different things. So please do keep your eyes peeled. We'll be trying to advertise them as much as we can, and we'll hopefully be doing them in this format so that people can join in and ask questions. Okay, thank you very, very much for having me along, and I hope the other speakers all have a great couple of days. Thanks.